Have the Fred McNair program. Glad you can join us on this Monday night. 48 hours after the tough loss to Bethune-Cookman. Tough loss. Tough. But we got to pick it up and get ready for Prairie View A&M as they roll into town coming in Saturday at 2 o'clock. We'll be taking all your questions and comments about the Bethune-Cookman game, a high-scoring game. And it just shows you in this league, you never know what to expect, at least this season anyway. Give us a call, 601-877-6595. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. And you can tweet a question. I'm on Twitter, Tallman Radio. You can watch this program on the WPRL Facebook page, as well as we'll talk all about the Bethune-Cookman game. High-scoring game from Daytona. Tough loss. The Braves still mathematically have a shot at the Western Division, but they have to beat Prairie View on Saturday. That's where it starts. We'll go more into the details on the scenarios as we roll along. We'll take a timeout. We'll be back after this 60-second break. Head football coach Fred McNair on the Fred McNair program. We'll get it started after this timeout here on the Braves Sports Network.
COVID-19 has changed how we stomp the yard and feel the beat. How we stroll. How we step. How we show our pride. Now it's time to take the first step that lets us get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts. As COVID-19 vaccines become available, you may have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I get it? Is it free?
It's okay to have questions. Now get the facts about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
Program here on the Brave Sports Network, Facebook, WPRL on Facebook Live, WPRL 91.7, Alcorn Public Radio, broadcasting from the campus of Alcorn State University. That's where we are here in Studio B. WMIS, WTYJ in Natchez, 1240 AM. The Beat, 97.7. That station there, brand new owner, really pumping it up in the Natchez area, part of the Brave Sports Network, and 90.1 WMPR in Jackson, the voice of the community. The Fred McNair program here on this Monday night. Charles Edmond, your host. Glad you can join us. To my left is Braves head football coach Fred McNair. Coach McNair, how you doing here on this Monday night?
I'm doing pretty good, Charles. Just trying to get ready for a good football game coming up on this Saturday against Prairie View. Just trying to make sure that we have our pieces in place and try to get ready for another physical match.
I tell you what, before we get into the game, I just wanted to say this from a logistics standpoint and the travel, the flight from Jackson to Daytona, an hour and change going, an hour and change coming back, a very quick flight. We ran into tropical storm conditions flying into Daytona, and it was that way Friday and into Saturday morning where you didn't get a chance to get a walkthrough in outside. So all those things you had to deal with in spite of. You played a Bethune-Cookman team that was 0-8 coming in, some close losses by that Bethune-Cookman team, led Jackson State 9-0, and you've been talking about it throughout the course of this season. You look at the calendar, you look at the schedule, you got your pen in hand, and in years past you might be able to pencil in a game that you can get. Not the case this year, and we're taking on an 0-8 team that was so close to winning probably 3 games. If they make probably 6 or 7 plays in their previous games, they probably win 3 games. But this was a tough loss, obviously.
No doubt. All week, kind of emphasized the magnitude of this game going into Daytona to play a good Bethune-Cookman football program. Emphasize that, just telling the guys that this is not an 0-8 football team we're going to play. This team has been very close in games, been leading games, of course. But, just going into a hostile environment down in Daytona, kind of a tough battle for us. I think the kids really gave a lot of effort. They made more big plays than we made. They come down to the big plays, and they had a lot of them. We were able to capitalize on the things that we were able to capitalize on for us in terms of the big play that we need to make, the big plays that they made, of course. But it came down to who made the most plays, and they made the most plays than we did during the course of the game, Charles.
Offense, defense, special teams, those are the components that make up a football game. You look at the numbers, we dominated in a lot of numbers, 2-1 in terms of offense and plays. So offensively, Felix Harper, 300-yard passing game. Defensively, trying to get off the field. And then special teams, a couple of a turnover on special teams as Manny Jones tried to get away from, or attempted to get away from a kick, and he thought better of it and caught it and was bumped off of it, and it was a fumble. They got on a short field. Then the 80-yard kickoff return. Just those things, they may be little in the grand scheme of things, but they're big when you look back on a close game.
Going into the game, we really thought that the wind was going to play a factor. Knowing Friday night that the way the wind was gusting Friday night, and getting up Saturday morning, knowing that the wind was still blowing, we made sure that we talked to the players about returning kicks and filling punts and things of that nature. And just so ironic, the punt came and he called Peter to get away from it, but still he tried to attempt to catch it. So those things, Charles, that's really just kind of a miscue for us and didn't benefit us. And they capitalized on that turnover there, went out and scored a touchdown and put them up 7-3. Things of that nature. The wind was a factor when it wanted to be. So we just have to be smart as players and understand what the coach is telling them and what to do their job, and that's the biggest thing, But things like that happen, Charles, in the course of the game. We had a kick return for a touchdown, so just those things that we didn't really fall in our lanes and cover the gaps and make the tackle. So during the course of the game, of course, the special team coming out the halftime, they make a big play for a long touchdown coming out the halftime, things of that nature. But we just playing with a lot of effort. Just gotta keep playing, and the kids are playing hard. That's no doubt. The effort is there, so we just got to be able to get guys back to the playing surface to where we need and where we can do things that we need to do in terms of offense and defense and special teams. Is really what's hurting the Braves football program now. But we put 11 men out there to play, and they're capable of making plays. So we don't make excuses about that. We just have to continue to fight and continue to play hard, which I think we will for the next game here on Saturday, Charles, against Prairie View.
Coach Thornton, Cedric Thornton, the defensive coordinator, I talked with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying just basically the same thing. Man, kids give it max effort. They're getting after it. They're flying around. But sometimes, doing too much, trying to do a little bit too much out there. Do you see that kind of in all three phases?
No, in terms of what we're doing as coaches, we're teaching them the proper things to do, but they just have to just be able to rely on us to put them in place to make plays. And that's the only thing that's kind of discouraging, just being able to make the play that need to be made. And there are plays to be made. We right there on the play, but we're just not making it. And that's what's so discouraging. We're not making that play. Offensive, defensive, special team, making tackles on special teams is very important. When you have a guy bottle up on a return, just being able to make that play. But we did not make those plays. We did not make enough plays to overcome what they're making.
So let's look at the scoring, Coach. Right off the bat, we won the toss, took the football, and got the ball at the 20-yard line. We got as close as the Wildcats' 7-yard line, and I with a attempt of 17 yards to make it a 3-0 game. Coach, we had it first down and goal from the 7, had to settle for 3. What did you like about that first drive, although we had to settle for a field goal?
I never like a drive when you have to settle for a field goal. I'm not taking anything away from 3 points, but in the red zone, you have to score touchdowns. And now, like I said, everybody's scoring a lot of points now, so we have to be able to capitalize on those plays and score touchdowns in the red zone. And we have to be able to finish a drive. And that's what we're talking about, finish. You want to finish that drive with a touchdown, put it in the box. Now, when they come back and we had that miscue on the punt, now the score is 7-7, But, things like that, and it's happened, Charles, and that's been something that we've been pushing real hard on these guys, just to finish drives and finish the play. But we haven't done that, and caused us to kick that field goal there.
Yeah, it was 3-0 at that point. Then the Wildcats got the ball at the 20-yard line. They were forced to punt. We got off the field 4th and 7. And then on the punt attempt, and you've talked about it, a very short kick in the wind. And I could just, relive it. Manny Jones, it was a very short kick, first of all. And Manny got away from it. Looked like he was just going to get away from it, stay away from it. And you look up, and on the hop, on this turf, he caught it on the hop. And next thing you know, the ball's on the ground. They got it at the 31-yard line. What was the explanation there as he came off the field? Because that was tough. It looked very innocent, but then we know what happened on the other end.
It was no explanation, Charles, and he knows what he did was wrong in terms of that, because he made the call to get away from the ball, and he went up and tried to catch it, and that's a no-no, because anytime you call Peter, you get away from it, and that's in terms of him and alerting other players to do the same thing. But instead, he tried to go and catch it and try to make something out of it, which I thought was crazy. And I talked to him on the sideline and just get him understanding. We just need the ball offensively. We don't need no heroic stuff. Don't be selfish and try to make something out of nothing. And which he wasn't going to get anything, because there was men standing right over him when he was trying to catch it. So we just made a bonehead mistake there, and they was able to capitalize with a touchdown after that mistake.
Yeah, they did, as Averett, 31-yard touchdown reception. And you talk about a load to cover. He's 6'6", 260, and we talk about the challenges there, because they obviously found that matchup, and we tried to go one-on-one with them, and they threw it over the top, back shoulder throws. Talk about the challenges of covering this kid, Averett.
The biggest thing is that the challenge was, we knew all week that he was a big old kid, and going to be hard to cover. And Coach Thornton did give help over the top. But sometimes the kids, they check stuff and for no reason at all, they make checks on it and didn't get over the top of the guy to cover the fade ball, and that's what happened when you do that. But if you stay with the call, the quarterback throw it right to you. So they didn't do that. Just some things that just was out of place, Charles, and just get them to understand. Just play what's called, and we'll live with it. I think the defensive coordinator has been doing a great job throughout the whole season. But just in terms of guys being hurt, and he putting guys in place to make plays, and it's almost 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other one, Charles. When you can't apply pressure because you don't know what's going to happen on the back end, and you don't want to play man to man because you don't know if the quarterback wants to back there and throw all day. So take all day to throw it, but just the thing that we have to do. We got to fix this in the house, and I think we will this week, and get the kids to understand. It's all or nothing this weekend. We just got to come out and play lights out, play hard, play with a lot of effort, and not make mistakes. Just give us a chance.
And they did that on Saturday against Bethune-Cookman. Hard, stayed in it, kept going back and forth in the second half. We'll get to that action coming up. But as we move forward, Coach, 2:42 left in the first quarter. We got the ball at the 34-yard line, our own 34, and Nico Duffy, a 3-yard rush, and then put the ball on the ground, recovered by Franklin at the 46-yard line. Duffy in a pile straight ahead. Talk about that play.
That's a little thing we talk about with the young men all the time. And we just do the little things right, whether it's on or off the field. That carries a lot of weight. We try to get them to do things right off the field as well as on the field. Nico fumbled against Southern last week, coming out in the red zone on the 3-yard line, and so this week he led another one on the ground. So, he's been a solid player for the early part of the season, and all of a sudden now you're just putting the ball on the ground, which is a no-no. And at that position, we don't really have a whole lot of depth. At that position, we have 4 guys. The two that's playing now by committee, and then you have Leatherwood and Jonathan Bolton to play. But we thought we could just ride those guys the rest of the season, hopefully, and not make mistakes. But now we have to find some other solution now that Nico is putting the ball on the ground and find out what's going on with him.
So with that fumble, Bethune-Cookman got the ball at the 49-yard line, but then it was a 4th and 8, and we got a partial block as McCullum with a block, and we got the football coach around the 47-yard line. So special teams, there was a positive play right there as we got off the field, and we got a partial block.
So I think that we've been blocking punts for the last four weeks, Charles, in terms of what we're doing on special teams. As far as our PBR team has been doing, I think they've been doing an excellent job of getting back there and blocking the punts and stuff like that. So we just got to continue that trend on special teams and kind of minimize the mistakes on the other part of the special teams and try to make up the difference there. So we've been doing good on special team, I think, that in terms of what we've been doing here lately.
7-3 at the end of the first quarter. We'll look at the second quarter action. Stafford Anderson with a huge day, both scoring and rushing the football. We'll talk about that. Boy, you just look at the numbers. If you just don't even look at the score, just look at the numbers, you think the Braves would have won this one pretty good, 2-1 in a lot of different categories. But yep, we come up short. We'll take a break. We'll look at the second quarter action when we come back here on the Fred McNair Show.
You don't fight fair, so we'll just fight harder.
We didn't come here to play around.
You're going down.
Honestly, I hate you.
I'm stronger than you.
I'm more determined than you.
We're going to beat you, cancer.
Because the American Cancer Society
Is on our team.
And together, we're unstoppable.
My name is John Calipari.
I'm Roy Williams,
I'm Jim Boeheim.
I'm Tubby Smith.
and I'm a coach versus cancer.
Can I get the now bar, please?
$1.
Have a good one. Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure. $1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
All right, welcome back to the Fred McNair program, 601-877-6595. Give us a call. You can text a question. We've got some text to get to, 601-348-7254. And I'm on Twitter, Tall Man Radio, have some tweets as well. Coach, looking at the second quarter, 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. Stafford Anderson got it going as we outscored the Wildcats 14-0 in the second quarter. Stafford Anderson, 116 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, some short runs. And when we got the ball close to the goal line, Stafford Anderson would not be stopped as in the second quarter as he got a 1-yard touchdown run to give the Braves a 10-7 lead.
That's big. That's big, Charles. And Stafford been very solid since he came back off the injury. Charles, he's been doing some great things for us. Been running the ball well. Been doing good in pass pro. So he's one of the guys that I say, we just got to lay our hats on and just make sure we get the best of him.
So it was 10-7 at that point, and then 17-7 as Stafford Anderson's 1-yard run. It capped off a 55-yard drive there, Coach. Felix Harper with a 300-yard passing day, and the running game was really going. So talk a little about that, Coach, in terms of Stafford Anderson getting those short runs and 116 yards rushing.
The biggest thing is, Charles, like I say, he's been solid and he's running the ball well. He got good vision between the tackles. And doing things with power and breaking it loose on runs and stuff like that. So it means a lot to us to have a back like Stafford to run the football as well as he ran it, and plus to gain the yards that he's doing on the carries that he have. So we're going to feed him and keep feeding him. And the offensive line is doing a tremendous job open up the holes for him and so he can get through and make those yards. So hats off to those guys up front for giving the gaps to run in.
A solid game for Stafford, solid running game as well. The Braves at that point with a lead of 17-7, and Coach, we had a chance to get 3 points at the end of the half as we got the ball with 2:13 left till halftime at our 12-yard line. Got to Bethune-Cookman's 28 and missed a field goal there of 38 yards. Could have added to our lead. Talk about the operation there.
The biggest thing is, and let's start with the snap. And I talked to Jason during the course of the game. You have to have a perfect snap at that point. Got a long field goal. Everything got to be perfect with the operation. He had a snap that came into the side of the holder and him to get it around, and he had the laces turned. So Kiata been doing a great job of kicking extra points and field goals. He had a distance on it, just put it to the left a little bit. But, just getting down there with the time that we have in a 2-minute drill that we work on Wednesday was great for us to have an opportunity to score points. We had two setbacks. We had a sack and a holding penalty, which was time consuming. With a little more time, we get a chance to move the ball on down the field a little bit more. So just fortunate enough to make an attempt for a field goal, very important to us to try to get points before the half.
And so it was 17-7, Coach, at the end of the first half. And you've been talking about it, just not getting in our own way. We're able to get some points, we're able to get some things done, but just get out of our own way, and we can have an even better situation.
That's exactly right, Charles. Things like that, and we tell them way before time, what to do and what won't need to happen. And in terms of that, we don't need sacks during the course of a 2-minute drill. Get rid of the ball. We don't need a whole lot of scrambling around. It's going to cause you to hold. So things of that nature, Charles, we just have to just keep reminding these players of those things and something that's been taught daily, and everything that we're teaching these guys to do don't always occur during the course of a football game. I understand that the pressure builds up and sometimes you get out of sync with it. But as a player, I've been there. I've done it. But, we just got to continue to teach and talk to the young men about what things to do and not to do.
Continue to coach them up. 2 games left in the regular season. All right, let's go to the phone lines for the first time on this Monday night. Kermit calling from Dallas. Good evening, Kermit. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Charles, and good evening, Coach McNair. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Kermit, man.
Hey, Coach, I want a quick question just from the standpoint of ever since the Valley game, the offense has really been clicking. We've been putting 30-plus points on the board every game. But, in putting those 30 points on the board, the offense have really had to work. It's been 90-yard drives, 80-yard drives, 70-yard drives, and those things take a lot out of the offense. And my question is on there, if I told you today in conference play we only had 4 sacks and 1 interception, what would you be saying as a coach right now?
I mean, that's kind of ironic. I was talking to Coach Thornton a while ago, and I said, "Man, we should be leading the conference in interception, man, because we have opportunities to get them. We got the kids in place to get them, and it'll be hard to believe that we got that. But I do believe that because the proof is in the pudding, and I always say, But just from a standpoint of what you're saying, and I just have me and Coach Thornton just got through talking probably about an hour ago about the same thing. We should be leading the conference in interception right now if we just do what we're supposed to do. It's kind of discouraging, but the biggest thing is for us, the offense of the long drive that we have. Defense is really making us work. They put good schemes together to make us work, and unfortunately we out-schemed them more than they out-schemed us because we're still able to drive the ball, and that means that we're getting 3rd down conversions, we're doing 4th down conversions, so just to continue to drive. 18-play drive, you're saying, and 17-play drive, we had a lot of them. And that's because the team is just really making us work to see if we're going to make a mistake during the course of that drive, and that's what a lot of them are going to start doing now. They put on the pressure, they're applying the pressure here, but they're not giving up the big play for us. And when we have opportunity to make that big play, just understand we have to make that big play, the explosive play we call it. That's what we're missing offensively, and we got to get back to the big explosive plays where guys making big catches downfield, guys making a big run for touchdown. So we just got to get back to that.
I appreciate it, and good luck to you, Coach, the rest of the year on there. And I was thinking to myself, this is the first time in 7 years that many of the players may not be playing for a championship the last 2 weeks. And what we just want to see, or what I want to see, is what kind of character they're going to demonstrate now. We got to demonstrate that brave spirit and keep going into these last 2 games and show them what the Braves are about. Good luck to you, Coach.
All right, thank you, Kermit.
All right, Kermit, thank you. We appreciate it. We're going to take a break here. We'll look at the 3rd quarter action as Bethune-Cookman with a 90-yard kickoff return to kind of keep them on level. We'll talk about that after this timeout here on the Fred McNair Show.
Once you get to Alcorn, it's kind of like there's a place for everybody. I fell in love with the people.
Overall, I love the experience, whether it's personal, whether it's in education. Anywhere you turn, there's always a helping hand.
People just going up and asking you, hey, are you new, are you lost, and taking an interest.
I would tell students if they want.
Welcome back to the Fred McNair program. Glad you can join us here on this Monday. Don't forget, Braves football at Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium, 2 o'clock, high school day. Huge game as the Braves try to keep themselves in the conversation. With a win, they'll do just that. The scenario is pretty simple. The Braves have to win out, and the Panthers have to lose out, including a Panther loss on Saturday. They play Texas A&M next Saturday, and then they close out the regular season the last week of November against Mississippi Valley. Had a shot at it with the loss to Bethune-Cookman, and when we took off for Fred McNair, we were looking at that Prairie View Bama State game. It was 20-10 at the half, Coach, and when we landed, Cedric Tillman said, man, Panthers won it. I mean, as Bama State did not score in the fourth quarter. But, we had a chance there, Coach. Could have handled our own business to really keep things right there in front of us. But, tough sledding, obviously, in Daytona.
Oh, of course. You just talk to the players and get them to understand that, at that point in time we was going to Bethune-Cookman, how we can just win out and make this thing right for those guys that's leaving, especially the seniors. You go down and beat the Bethune-Cookman ball club and come back and get ready for a good Prairie View team. So we didn't do the things we need to do to take care of our business, Charles. So that's the biggest thing that we have to focus on is this next game that we got against Prairie View.
All right, as we'll get to the phone lines in a moment. Marquise is standing by. We'll get to him coming up here in a few moments. All right, Coach, let's look at the third quarter. And it started off 56 seconds into the third quarter. Dylan Lee with a touchdown. 81-yard pass there. We made it 17-14 at that point, and that was a big play there in that game, Coach. Talk a little bit about that, the operations there. 2-play, 81-yard drive.
It was, and Coach Thornton asked Derek Daggery what was he doing. We was in straight quarters, and he got number one outside for so long. He's going to turn into man, so he got to run with him. But he took his eyes off of him, looked inside at number two, and he got behind him and wasn't able to catch back up with him. So, just a blown coverage there, just a flat-out blown coverage by him.
So it was 17-14 at that point, but then we would respond as Juan Anthony, a 34-yard pass from Felix Harper, capping off a 78-yard drive. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Juan Anthony, we know we've got Pringle, you got Manny Jones and Bowler. Are you looking at, or are teams really focusing on Anthony, trying to get more touches there for him? Or there's a lot of football to go around, and to get Juan Anthony more involved. Is the defense really, closing in on him?
Oh, the biggest thing is that the ball spreads out to the guy that's where it's supposed to go, and I think Philly's been doing a great job of seeing the field lately and getting the ball to the open guys, and I think that play there was one of them, having to scramble to his left a little bit and giving the ball to Juan Anthony, and then Juan Anthony, I think he did the rest, and just running it in.
So it was 24-14, and then the 94-yard kickoff by Keyshawn Bird that made it a 24-21 game. Just when it looked like we would get a handle on this one in the second half, then Bethune-Cookman makes a play. In this case, a big play. Fred McNair, talk about the operation there. Where was that kick supposed to go? Last week we were talking about coffin corner kick, pooch kick, deep kick. What was the strategy there at this point as you looked at the returns?
We always gonna call a deep right or deep left to where the ball was supposed to go. But at that time, once the ball was kicked, it went inside the hash. And but nevertheless, the kick was. It was a kick, but we just have to make sure we cover our lanes, and we didn't do that. We had a guy that was displaced, and where he's supposed to be, that's where the ball went, exactly where he's supposed to be. So in those terms, we have to make him work from the bottom of the numbers. He didn't have to work from the bottom of the number. He worked right down the hash where the ball was kicked to get in that gap where the guy's supposed to be to cover his lane. So unfortunately, we didn't get that covered, and the guy takes off and takes it 94 yards for a kickoff return.
Yeah, that was tough, because I think at that point in the game, and that was 10:25 left in the third quarter. If we could have just settled things down, got them off the field, got the ball back the way we're able to move the football, we're able to create some separation. But it just shows you, how special teams can either knock you out or keep you around, and that return kept Cookman around.
It did, and you make a stop there, make them work for points instead of just getting them a kickoff return. And then you running time off the clock and all that stuff plays in the factor in, Charles. So, but they didn't work any time off the clock during the course of that kick, probably about 8 seconds if anything. So we didn't get a stop there, and they came back and made a close game again, 24-21.
And then we added to that lead, 31-21. Stafford Anderson with a 19-yard touchdown run. That made it 31-21 in late third quarter. Averett, the 33-yard pass from Shannon Patrick. All right, so let's talk about that, Coach, because Black was the starting quarterback. He obviously struggled. But then when Shannon Patrick came in the game, man, he really made some pretty good throws, and a different type of quarterback in there. He stood in the pocket. He kind of reminded me of Blake Bortles, just standing there spraying the ball all over the place, hung in there. And, we got some shots at him, but he got the ball where he needed to be, and especially when you look at Averett at 6'6", 260. We talked about that matchup earlier.
Yeah, Shannon came in and did a great job, and we knew that going into the game that they was going to probably play both quarterbacks. And one was a great runner, and Shannon came in and he was a great passer, so was able to make that pass there for a touchdown to get the game back up.
So it's 31-28, end of the third quarter. We're going to go to the phone lines here, and Marquise giving us a call on this Monday night. Good evening, Marquise. How are you?
How you doing, Charles?
Good evening.
How you doing, Coach Floyd?
Marquise, I'm doing good, man.
Man, what happened to y'all?
Marquise, I tell you, we didn't make enough plays, man. That's the biggest thing that happened, and we had a lot of miscues and didn't make enough plays. They made more big plays than we made, man, and just kind of disappointed in that factor. So that's what happened, man. We didn't make enough plays.
Yeah, but this is my question I want to ask you. Are we got one more chance?
Marquise, I tell you, we gotta go ahead and take care of business on Saturday and next week, and hope the worst for a Prairie View. But we just gotta continue to do what we're doing and try to win some ball games, the rest of the ball games, Marquise, and we'll let the chips lay where they fall.
Yeah, I hope y'all win this game, because we need a win.
That's exactly right, Marquise. I'm with you on that, my man.
All right, Marquise, Thank you very much. All right, Marquise giving us a call here on this Monday night. We'll take a break here. We'll look at the fourth quarter. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, and a special program for Alcorn legend, the late Marino Cassim, an event coming up in the next few days. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Prairie View as well. We'll take a break. We'll be back after this on the Braves Sports Network. As we look at the fourth quarter, the Braves with a lead of 31-28 at the end of the third quarter. And you talked about it earlier, Coach, in dealing with the weather conditions. It was Friday, gusting up to 40, 45 miles an hour. And on Saturday, it was sunny but windy and raw. And so what was the speech to your kickers, especially trying to deal with the wind, because that was an issue all day?
The biggest thing is, I wasn't really concerned about nothing but more than what we can do on return guy, especially the punt return. In the sense of where the wind is blowing so hard and moving the ball in different directions and trying to get our punter to punt the ball in the direction of the wind was going in some cases. Before the kickoff and stuff like that, I thought Christoph did a great job of putting the ball where it's supposed to be. In terms of them just kicking the ball, just mainly just kicking it to where it needed to go. The wind gonna take it away anyway, Charles. So I think he did a great job of doing that. Beauplat did a great job of punting. Other than just the long field goal that we had the laces on, Kiani did a great job of kicking extra points and making the field goals.
So it was 31-28, Coach, at the end of the third quarter, as Bethune-Cookman got the ball to start the fourth quarter, 3rd and 9 from their own 47-yard line. We had a pass interference, Coach, that extended their drive right off the bat on the first play of the fourth quarter, and that got the ball to the Braves 38.
Yeah, I thought that was a call that may have been either way, Charles. You got a kid that's the ball is overthrown and he's going up for the ball and all of a sudden just runs into the guy, and I think that flag should have been kept in the pocket. So, but unfortunately not. We got a flag on that one.
And so that extended the drive, and they moved the football to the Braves' 3-yard line, and Wilson's 3-yard run put Bethune-Cookman up 35-31 with 12:27 left in the fourth quarter, Coach. So here we are. We got a ball game, 35-31. And what I was thinking at that point, Coach, in the fourth quarter, Felix Harper, close to 300 yards passing. We're running the football pretty well, and we were pretty efficient in not turning the football over on offense. And we got the football with 12:16 left in the fourth quarter. And on the second play of the drive, Harper's pass intercepted by Hill Robinson. It was off Bowler's fingertips. Talk about that particular play.
Yeah, that's the run pass option that we do, and Felix decided to throw the pass and just led him too far. He stuck his hands out and tried to catch it, and it comes out and get a deflection, and the DB catches up with it and intercepts the pass. So it's one of those things that we try to stay away from, those turnovers.
Yeah, Stafford Anderson with a 2-yard gain to start that drive, and then the pass intercepted. So now the defense has to step up, Coach. 11:42 left. They got the ball, Bethune-Cookman at the 30-yard line. A 3rd down and 5 from the Braves 7-yard line. Bird with the catch at the 5. A strip fumble recovered, forced by Kinsler. And the Braves got the football, Coach, a much-needed turnover as we got the ball right back.
You're exactly right. I think Kinsler did a great job of forcing a turnover, something they work on during the course of the week in practice is the takeaways and creating the fumbles in those scenarios. And I think Kinsler did a great job, and we're able to get the ball back and have a chance right there, Charles.
Yeah, we tried to get the football back. We did get it back, but then we picked up a 1st down, and you just kind of bogged down on that drive, Coach, and we gave them the football back with about 5 minutes and change left. They picked up a couple of 1st downs, then you had to use your timeout. So let's start on the front end of it. After getting that fumble, just one 1st down, and that drive really bogged down deep in our territory.
Yeah, we had a couple miscues in that scenario, Charles, and we weren't able to pick up another 1st down, so we decided to punt. And back them up a little bit and try to hold them there. And I had 3 timeouts in my pocket, so play a little defense and hopefully get them to punt against the wind and get good field position going back in and try to score to go up to win the ball game.
And they milked the clock. We burned the timeouts. We burned our final timeout, and it was a 3rd down play in which a run for right at the sticks, Coach. And I saw Cedric Thornton kneeling at the chains, at the football, hoping for it to be just a little bit short, and was the 1st down, and they ran out the clock.
Yeah, it was just a case of us giving up too much on 1st down during that whole course of that series there, Charles, and maximize everything that we had over on the sideline on the bench to put in. Some guys that haven't been used to playing a whole lot in terms of the interior guys, and weren't able to hold up there with the kind of rushing attack that Bethune-Cookman presented.
So it was a tough loss, 35-31. We'll go inside the numbers when we come back. Plenty of text and tweets to get to, and we'll, of course, get to Prairie View, a team that a lot of people going into the media day didn't expect to be at this point. But they got a scare last week at home versus Alabama State. They were down 20-10 and rallied in the second half. And we're going to be talking about Pass, their quarterback. They spray the ball all over the place, and their defense is pretty good. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we'll go inside the numbers, get your text and tweets coming up after this timeout here on the Fred McNair Show.
It's been difficult because I hadn't been able to see my grandchildren.
I can't wait to get back to field trips with my school.
Not having to think about putting on a mask.
I really can't wait to get back to life, really.
I miss all my friends. I miss taking pictures in school.
An expression on someone's face when you do something nice for them.
COVID-19 vaccines are available, and they're the first step to safely getting back to things we miss most. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision about COVID-19 vaccines.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Welcome back to the Fred McNair program. We have time for your call, 601-877-6595. You can text a question, 601-348-7254. And I'm on Twitter, Tallman Radio. Texts and tweets have already come in. We'll get to them in a moment. All right, Coach, just looking inside the numbers, I mean, it just shows you how the game of football or any team sport, you look at the numbers, it just tells you a lot, and you look at the score, it tells you something else. 2-1 our favor in first downs, 27-13, double the amount of first downs, double the amount of rushing yards, 176-85. Stafford Anderson with 116 yards rushing, double the rushing attempts, 44-23. We ran 22 more plays and 9 of 15 on third down, 4 for 4, Coach, in the red zone. Felix Harper, 300 yards passing. We had 476 yards of total offense. So if you look at all those numbers, Coach, without even looking at the score, you figure, oh yeah, Braves won the football game. And I think that's that's tough, isn't it?
It's always tough, and you look at some of the things that Bethune-Cookman did, and in terms of their games they've been playing, the numbers have been kind of that way, but in terms of what you want to see is that final score number, and it wasn't in favor of Alcorn. So you can look at the stats, and like I said, number one stat really mean anything to me other than third down conversions in terms of what I look at and for what we do as an offense and a defense, and it kind of tells a story, and the biggest thing is that the main stat was on the scoreboard. We was defeated in that part.
You talk about the third downs, 9 of 15, including 4 for 4 in the red zone. Talk a little bit about that, Coach, that 9 of 15, where you rate that conversion.
And that's pretty good, Charles. And what you don't want too many third downs chances. You want to be first and second down and go on. But when it comes to third down, when they present themselves to you, you want to be able to convert those on third down. So we got a chance to get in the stats on that, 9 of 15, which is huge. But at the same time, you don't want to give up the third downs either. You want to get off the field on third down. I think we were at 7 of 14 on third down. So that's 50-50 right there. So you want to be a little bit less than that on defensive side, giving up third down conversion.
We held them to 85 yards rushing, really, averaging 3.7 yards per attempt, and we doubled that, 176. But was it the running game a little bit just productive enough to kind of keep you honest on defense?
I mean, it does a lot to you, Charles, when you talk about the runs and what they do. It kind of affects you a little bit, keeps you off balance. They threw the bubble a lot on the edge and things of that nature. But the biggest thing is the plays downfield that really affected us in terms of what we couldn't do on defense is to get off the field with the big plays down the field. So I think that was the biggest thing that we had lacking of the plays downfield that we should have have them knocking down or maybe pick some of those plays off, when they present themselves.
Felix Harper, 24 of 33 for 300 yards. Stafford Anderson, 26 carries, 115 yards, part of a 176-yard rushing effort. You had C.J. Bowler with 76 yards. We sprayed the ball around. Juan Anthony with 68. Pringle with 47 on 3 catches. You talk about the tight end. Griffin, 3 receptions for 46 yards. And Hunt, 2 receptions for 11 yards. Jeremiah Green, 1 for 6. So talk about Green, talk about Hunt, and obviously Griffin getting more touches here.
The biggest thing is we got guys over there that's been playing, but that's not getting the touches and just kind of spreading the wealth around, Charles. And some of those guys, Montario Hunt has been doing a great job. Got a chance to get him into action, and Griffin, he's doing a great job at the tight end spot. So he'll be starting for us on Saturday and getting him in more playing time and things. Doing a great job for us up front with the blocking scheme. So just kind of keep him going and pushing these guys in the right direction and making sure we continue to hold the defense off balance in what we're doing on offense with the receivers.
All right, so we're going to take a break here. We're going to get to your text and tweets, and we'll preview A&M as the Panthers roll into town. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this on the Braves Sports Network.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skill...
Welcome back to the Fred McNair program, looking over the texts and tweets. Let's start with David from Hattiesburg. We appreciate your text. Coach, it seems like there's a deficiency in the trenches. Can't seem to consistently generate pressure or stuff the run on the D-line or pass protect or maul people, as he calls it, on the line. We'll lean on the transfer portal more than usual to help galvanize those positions. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think the biggest thing is when you have all your guys, especially your starters out, you tend to have that problem when you've been not been consistent in having all your guys in place to in the trenches, especially to put pressure on quarterbacks and stuff of that nature, Charles. So we've been that way for about the last 4 weeks during the course of this road run with guys being out and not being able to play during the course of this 4-week run. So we hadn't had our starter since the last 4 weeks, and consistently where they've been on the field at the same time. So we've been having to move around guys and put guys in place to hold up in the interior guys up front.
All right, we appreciate that text. Brave Queen 4971, Coach, what adjustments you make on offense to pound our opponents into the ground? For the last 5 years, I've observed the offense making the same miscues. Our time of possession is low, and you have your defense on the field quite a bit. You make the same miscues in our opponents, and it's catching up with us. How are we going to, at least the mental mistakes that you've talked about, or as they say, shooting ourselves in the foot at that point? That's from Brave Queen.
I think the biggest thing is that the time of possession is we're giving the defense a lot of rest. We just not have the guys back to plug in there, Charles. I think we have these long drives to kind of offset the time that they're on the field. So we just have to make sure that when we're on the field, when we're in the red zone, that we're putting it in the box and getting something out of it when we make those long drives down the field. So we just got to continue to push these guys and make sure that we're doing the right things and making the right calls to get this thing in the box down there, Charles, when we make these long drives. So I think in terms of giving the defense a little rest, I think that we're doing that offensively and not having to go so quickly to get those guys the proper amount of rest so they can get back on the field a little fresher than what they have been.
Mr. T off the Twitter line. You can tweet a question to Tall Man Radio. Coach, there's a strong possibility that Prairie View could hoist the Western Division trophy on our field along with a home winning streak and one of the hottest teams in the FCS in terms of a home field winning streak. Will that be used, obviously, as motivation to keep the focus there? Because we all know the scenario here, and just to break it down, we're 2 games back with 2 games to play. We have this game with Prairie View, and we play Jackson State. Prairie View comes to Alcorn. They go to Texas A&M next week, and they host Mississippi Valley. 2 out with 2 to play. So you know the scenario. We got to win out and hope that Prairie View loses to Valley in a couple of weeks. There's nothing else left there. That's what it will take for the Braves to go to the championship game yet again. And there's been, plenty of talk. Well, we played Bethune on the eastern side. It does not count. Every game in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, SWAC versus SWAC, counts. Every team in this conference has 8 conference games, no more. Every game counts, regardless of what side. So every game counts. We got 2 games left. We're 2 out with 2 to play. So, Coach, that being said, just based on the tweet, the motivation of not letting the Panthers hoist that trophy on your field. We've got a pretty good home field winning streak, and you want to keep that alive.
I think, the magnitude of this ball game, I think the coaching staff know, and of course the players know the magnitude of this ball game and what's at stake here for the Alcorn Brave football program. And I think that, coming out and playing hard and playing with a lot of effort, I don't think that we need to make any noise of try to motivate the young men of what's going on as far as in terms of this weekend and what's at stake. So I think they know the magnitude of this ball game, which I told them earlier today. The magnitude of this ball game after practice and what it meant to this Alcorn State University Brave football program, especially here at home and Speak Council Stadium. So the biggest thing is we just got to get these guys ready to play as coaches, to play a very tough and physical ball game, which I think Coach Dooley and his staff going to bring a good ball club in here. They've been playing good for the last few weeks. They've been rolling. So we got to maximize their intensity, Charles, and what they're going to bring some excitement until we get on and start scoring points and making some stops. They will continue to go. So we got to make sure that we're doing everything in our power as a coaching staff to put the young men in the best position as possible to win this ball game here on Saturday.
The script's kind of been flipped, Coach. Early in the season, our defense was really playing well, and then people were wondering, well, what about the offense? When is the offense going to get it rolling? Last couple of weeks, the offense has over 30 points against Southern and Bethune-Cookman. 88 plays that Southern ran on our defense, and then just couldn't quite get off the field against Bethune-Cookman. I know we're missing a bunch of pieces, and I know you're not one for excuses, but has that have more of an impact than anything? The fact that we're missing a bunch of pieces here.
Yeah, in some cases, Charles, you got guys out there that don't get a lot of snaps, but they get a proper amount of snaps to be able to come in and play. But in terms of what we're doing and the adjustment that need to be made, they don't get a chance to see all the adjustment that need to be made, the checks and everything like that. So when you have your starters in, it's automatic deal. You have guys up front that really know what to do in certain situations and making the right calls and checks and all that kind of stuff. So in terms of that, we got guys that some of them playing their first ball game, Charles, and but we, like I said, we just continue to get these guys ready to play without making excuses, because you put 11 men on the field, that means you're able to play football. So we take it at that, and we continue to make sure that we put these young men in the proper position to make plays. And in terms of that, y'all, we just got to keep going and keep fighting. These young men's going to play with a lot of effort this weekend. Because they know the magnitude of this ball game. No matter who's out there, you will see the maximum amount of effort that these guys always put out during the course of this season. So we're going to continue to put in stride to put together the best product that we can on the field on Saturday to win this ball game.
Defensively, despite the individual effort, Juwan Taylor, we'll be talking with him on the pregame show. 14 tackles. He was all over the field.
He's been doing an excellent job throughout the whole season, Charles, and and that's one of the guys that we're hoping to put up for the C. Spot Conley Award, and Juwan Taylor. So hopefully he'll be recognized during the course of that C. Spot Conley presentation during the course of this year. And and the things that he's accomplished on the field, and a very smart kid off the field as well, Charles. So I always try to do the things the right way, and he's a great leader on that defensive side, making plays, pivotal point in time. Every time a play needs to be made, he's right there in the box ready to make it. So not afraid of contact. So his kids have graduated and ready to move on, came back to play another season with us, and we're happy to have him. So one of the kids you almost hate to see go because of the kind of player he is, the kind of person he is. So he'll be very successful when he leave here, Charles. After he leave here this year, he'll be very successful in whatever occupation that he decided to go in. He's going to be successful.
All right, we're going to take a time out here, a final break. We'll give you some special information about the late, great Marino Casem. A special program will be coming up here later in the week. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Prairie View on the other side of this timeout here on the Braves Sports Network.
I surrender.
All right, pal.
Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's up?
We have a gun.
Why do you ask that, kiddo?
Can I play with it?
No, absolutely not. It's not a toy. You know that. Anyway, I need it to protect you, your sister, and Mom.
But what about the 8 kids who get shot every day by mistake?
Where'd you hear that?
Where do you keep it?
It's hidden.
I bet it's on the top shelf of the closet, under your sweatshirts. Is it loaded? Remember when I found my Christmas gift? You always told me to be curious.
No, that's not what I meant.
And when it's just me and Mom, I could use the gun to protect her.
No, Justin, I promise. I'm always here for you.
But Dad, you're not always here.
All right, welcome back to the Fred McNair program. I want to remind you that there will be a celebration of 100 years of football at Alcorn State University. There will be a tribute to the life and legacy of the late Marino H. Casem, former legendary football coach and athletic director. That's set for on this campus Thursday, November 11th, in the Gold Room of the Clinton Bristow Junior Dining Hall. The event will kick off with a reception at 6 o'clock, followed by a tribute program at 7 o'clock, and is presented by family and friends of Coach Casem in partnership with Alcorn State University. Coach Casem retired in 1999 and has been enshrined into several Hall of Fames, including the Alcorn State Sports Hall of Fame, Southern Athletics Hall of Fame, the SWAC Hall of Fame, the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame, the Black College Football Hall of Fame, and the National Association of Collegiate Director of America Hall of Fame. Coach, I mean, what more can you say about the late, great Marino Casem? The first time I met him, when he was interim athletic director here, he told me, he said, "I tell you what, tough times never last, but tough people do." And I guess that's kind of where we are right now. These are some tough times, and this is where you got to dig within yourself and figure out a way here these last couple of games. Kind of reflective of what some of the things that Coach Casem talked about.
And you're exactly right, Charles. And back when I was coming out of high school, Coach Casem recruited me coming out of high school back in '86, and such a great person. Got a chance to meet him many times before he left going to Southern to be the athletic director when I first came to Alcorn. But I got a chance to meet him at a couple of the SWAC championship games that were played in Houston. Got a chance to talk to him for several minutes, and just a very inspirational guy, man. And he's done a lot for this university, and his legacy he'll always carry on, and it will forever continue. Just a great mentor, in a lot of people's eyes, Charles, and especially the guys that really play for him.
Again, a special program Thursday in the Gold Room of the Clinton Bristow Junior Dining Hall. The event will kick off with a reception at 6 o'clock, followed by a tribute program at 7, and is presented by family and friends of Coach Casem in partnership with Alcorn State University. All right, Coach, let's look at the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Wait, did we expect this on Media Day back in July, that Prairie View would be where they are, and who would have thought we would be where we are? But that's the way these things go. So let's look at this Panther team. They got a scare. I think they got a wake-up call. 20-10, they were down at home at Bama State. It was their homecoming. and they shut them out in the second half, 124-20. They got a quarterback coach in Jawan Pass, who's only been sacked 6 times. He's a grad student from Columbus, Georgia, 1,441 yards passing. In SWAC games, 10 TDs, 3 interceptions. So it starts and stops with Pass. What do you see in this guy at 6'4", 228 that we're going to be looking at Saturday?
Big, strong, physical quarterback that got a very, very strong arm. Throw the ball well downfield. Intermediate pass is okay. But in the running game, they'll run some power with him, some outside, inside zone stuff, and just try to create stuff with his feet a lot of time too, Charles. So you got to really put pressure on him and make him throw some of the ball up to us instead of them receivers that he got.
They were averaging 33 points a game. That's number 2 in the conference behind Jackson State. When you look at them running the football, they've got a Grambling transfer in LaDamian Brooks. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. Another grad student, 5'8", 170, a scat back from Austin, Texas, a Grambling transfer. So are they more pass happy? Are they more run happy? Or they balance the scales?
They pretty much balance, y'all. They're going to do a lot. I think it's more predicated on what the defense give you. And hopefully we're not going to try to give them too much, Charles. And we're going to try to be a little stingy with them this weekend coming. So trying to shut all that stuff down that they got going on with the passing and, of course, the running game they got with Brooks. So we just got to make sure that we know where these guys at all time, especially that quarterback is going to stand back there and throw it around the yard.
Defensively, they're number 3 overall, number 2 against the rush, number 2 against the pass. They have 21 sacks. They have 8 interceptions, led by Drake Cheatham with 4 picks and Jason Dumas with 7.5 sacks. Over the years, when you talk about this Prairie View team and Coach Dooley, who's former offensive coordinator at Grambling, we know his teams can score points. Since he's taken over at Prairie View, they can score points. But can they stop people? And it looks like they're getting off the field. They shut out Alabama State in the second half. They've won some high-scoring games by getting off the field late and their defense making big plays. This is probably the best defensive team Coach Dooley has had at Prairie View.
Yeah, Coach Miller, defensive coordinator, is doing a pretty good job with those guys up front, in Dumas and Troy James, those guys in the secondary. Drake Cheatham, Miller and I played together in the Arena Football League in Albany, New York. I know Miller very well, so he's been doing a great job with Dooley. Him and Dooley really raised together, come up together. They was together a lot, so they're best friends. So it makes a whole lot of sense to bring Miller in to be the D coordinator for them, and he's been doing a great job here so far. So that's one of the things that I admire about this defense. They're very stingy, so we got our work cut out for us, and I think the offensive staff we'll put together a good game plan for this team.
Coach, I tell you what, I feel different. Normally this time of year, we're talking about controlling things. It's our race to lose. Feels a little different this time of year. Second week in November? We're used to being on the other side of this thing. Now we got to be Prairie View and get some help. It kind of feels different, but this is where you bring your own guts, pride, all that stuff comes in a game like this. Because the bottom line is, if we don't win Saturday, Prairie View wins the West, and you don't want that to happen right out here at Jack Spinks Marino Castle Stadium.
I pretty much say it well, Charles, and that's the thing that these young men know here. Know it's at stake, know the magnitude of this ball game that's going to be played on Saturday. So coach staff will put together a good game plan for us to come out and execute, and I hope we execute it well in terms of everything that we need to do to get this win on Saturday, Charles. So going to have a very extended Prairie View team coming in. Not going to try to give you too much, but we got to go out and take just about everything we're going to earn on this Saturday, Charles. So we got to be very efficient and very effective on what we do this coming Saturday in terms of offense and defense and special team.
Efficient and effective. I want to ask you about trying to get by the Bethune game mentally. I mean, when the game was over, we got on the bus, we flew right out. We were home by 6:30 Saturday night. What was the team's attitude and just trying to unpack that game and get by it as quickly as you can emotionally and mentally?
I had a good day of practice today, and I think everything went pretty well in terms of what we tried to get done. As far as the first day of practice, they was off on Sunday, off on yesterday, came back today, very excited about being on the football field again, and then put that game behind us. So, give them a chance to watch it on Sunday on the 360 deal on DV Sports. So they got a chance to watch, so we don't have to spend too much time with them and get them to understand the mistakes that we made and that occurred in the course of the Bethune-Cookman ball game, what we need to do to correct that. And I think that the team meeting went well this morning in terms of what I was trying to get them to understand in terms of this game coming up. So push Bethune away and get ready for a good Prairie View team that's coming in. So the scout report that we gave them this morning is very accurate with the defense and the offense of what they're going to do. And we just got to make sure we're doing everything well on special teams in terms of giving us a chance to make plays on special teams. And of course, offensive defense got to be more explosive. We got to make plays. We got to make plays on both sides of the ball. We got to create turnovers. We got to make explosive plays on offense. We got to do all those things the right way to give ourselves a chance to win this ball game. We got to play flawless, Charles, as they can say. We can't have no mistakes. Just got to come out and compete and play with a lot of effort.
We were coming off the road, 4 straight on the road. Last game on this 4-game stretch. Do you think the road wore us down?
Well, Charles, and the thing is, I don't like making excuses for this program, and I never will. I never would take that and say that's the reason for us to lose these 2 games. I'm not going to do that. I think the thing that we have to do is execute and make sure that we playing hard with effort. We execute, everything is fine. We don't have turnovers, everything is fine. So we make the plays on defense when we're supposed to make them, everything is fine. So I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse because we was on the road for 4 games that is different. We played a 6-game road trip before. What's 2 more? So what we got to do is come out and play a big ball game on Saturday here at home and make sure that we're doing everything the right way to put these kids as coaches in a position to win a ball game. So they got to come out with the attitude that they're gonna execute the stuff that's called, and that's the bottom line to it.
You talk about explosive plays. Sacks are always explosive plays on defense, and you talked about it a little bit earlier. Just 4 sacks. Talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean that's tough, especially when you don't have the guys up front to get to those sacks, Charles, and that's where we've been lacking of up front. Our guys up front has been missing. And we don't have those guys up front, but we still have guys that still need to get to the quarterback, regardless of who they are. We still have guys that need to get to the quarterback for a sack. We had opportunities. We had opportunities Saturday. We missed a sack Saturday. So the opportunities are for us. We just got to make the play when it's time. So just credit the coaches for what they're doing and trying to put the guys in the right place to make the play. But they got to. And I told them about heart this morning, Charles. I told them it's all about the heart, and what you desire to do. You got to make those plays. It come within. It's all about what's within themselves to make plays. And that's something that we just been lacking on for the last 2 weeks. Is just somebody just making a play, whether it's offense, defense, or special team.
And we talked about what hasn't been happening or what needs to happen. So you look at this 2-game stretch here. What are some of the things that is pleasing to you and that you can build off of for these next 2 big games?
As far as what we've been doing offensively, is executing the ball and just take away the turnovers, we'll be fine. Defensive wise, we just got to make the play. We got to make the play when the ball is there. They kind of feel like it's ours. So we got to make those plays. We got to tackle better. And when it come down to making a sack, when it presents itself, you got to make that play back there in the backfield. Now we're looking at a negative play, which would be an explosive play for the defense. Anytime you get intercepted, it's an explosive play for our defense. So we just got to get in those terms to where we got to get back to creating more turnovers on defense. So in terms of that, what we got to do, we got to play a excellent, safe, and not have no mistakes free ball game. So that's what we got to do to win this ball game coming out on Saturday.
Coach, should be a good one. It's senior day, obviously, the last regular season home game. So that's another thing. Seniors don't want to go out on senior day on their final game at home, regardless of what sport. I've seen players in tears when they lose their senior day, and that's something you don't want to have happen.
Senior day is almost like homecoming, Charles. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose homecoming, and senior day is no different. You got these guys going to be playing their last collegiate game at home. And they want to go out with a bang, and it's up to the underclassmen to make sure that these guys do it. They go out and play with effort and put these guys out on a winning streak at home. So nevertheless, we get ready for the next game and make sure that we're doing everything to secure another win. But right now, the Prairie View Panthers is our focus, and we'll get ready for them this week, starting today. And I just got to come out and just play an A-brand of ball game with no mistakes and play flawless.
Coach, let's go get them.
Go Braves.
That'll do it for the Fred McNair program. Sitting off in the distance is Ambria Dorsey, who does a great job in getting with Coach with other interviews and stuff. She's checking us out, and we might be using her down the stretch. So we appreciate her coming by and checking us out. That'll do it for the Fred McNair program. Check us out Saturday at 1:30 for the pregame show. Kickoff at 2 o'clock. We're going to be talking with Juwan Taylor on the pregame show. And at the half, we will talk a little basketball. Basketball preview start this week. We'll talk with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. He'll join us at halftime. That'll do it for the Fred McNair program. Thanks for all the calls, texts, and tweets. We'll do it all over again next Monday night. So long.